Hi, I'm Jess. Welcome back. How y'all doing? So listen, I saw this meme and it says you must show the actions of a wife before becoming a wife. Mind you, I am a wife of 15 years. August will be 15 years, but I want all my credit for the whole year. Anyway, what do you think? I know what I think. So let's talk.
Jess's Corner.
Hey, I'm Jess. Just put a little zhuzh on it, you know what I'm saying?
Jess's Corner.
Baby, we making regular the new lit. Damn.
Jess's Corner.
I mean, we gonna discuss a couple, two, three things. A little.
Jess's Corner.
I mean, treat yourself. We in here now. You already want to get with me on this.
Jess's Corner. Jess's Corner.
Liquor with 2 Ks. Maybe it's been a week. So let's get into it. Showing the actions of a wife before you become a wife. Do you agree or disagree? I wholeheartedly agree. I'll tell you why. I'm a wife of 15 years. Now, I met my husband in 1997. We were but this big, right? We met in 97. We also then went off in the world to live. We actually got together in 2003. Now, during that time from 97 to 03, I probably was 12, but we lived. Baby, I've lived. We've had our relationships. We've done things. He was in his lane, I was all the way in mine, okay? So, we got together in 03 and we were together for 4 years before we actually got married. Now, of those 4 years, the first 2 was the actual dating. You know, what's your favorite color? What's your mother like? You know, all of the stuff. And the last 2, baby, I was planning my wedding because he proposed at year 2 of the courtship. Okay. So we were together for 4 years. And I absolutely wholeheartedly believe you must show the actions of becoming a wife before becoming a wife. Listen, it worked for me, okay? So I want to share with you my thought process on why this makes sense to me, okay? I knew when I met this man that I did not want to be his friend. You know, the whole like, we got to start as friends, we got to be best friends. That's cool. I wanted to be in a relationship with him when I met him. In 1997, I thought he was the cutest thing in the world. Oh my gosh, his teeth are so bright white. His eyes are so bright. His complexion is so deep. He stands so tall. He carries his books so well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and those around me will attest to this. Like, he was my crush. I actually dreamed about him often, right? So that was thing 1. I had no intention on being his friend. The attraction was relationship / sexual / physical / please marry me from the very beginning. On my end, he did not know I existed. He ignored me the whole time. Bless his heart. So like when we first got together in the beginning of the relationship, I recognized I always asked his preference. It was always very important to me to know his plan. Like, what do you want to do? What's next? Like, and it wasn't always just about like the us or the me. Like, what are you doing? Like, okay, you're in school. When you graduate, what's the plan? Like, okay, well, now what's the plan? Like, where do you want to live? Where are you comfortable? Like, I've always wanted to know, like, what's your plan? What's your preference? How do you feel about this? And I would work in those conversations to our everyday decisions, our everyday life, because A, I wanted him to lead. B, I wanted to show some type of submission. Like, okay, that's the plan, let's do it. And again, he showed me that he was capable of doing such. So I've always had this all in with him. And this is the, I guess, scary part. I've always been all in with him. Like, he was the guy I've always been willing to risk it all for. Literally to this day. Like, he's just always been the guy. It's an animalistic thing. Like, I'm willing to risk it all. If that's what you're saying the plan is, then let's do it. Obviously, I don't mean rob the bank. But if you feel like the best thing for our family, for our trajectory is to do X, I'm riding out. So one of the first things that I was able to do to show the actions of, a wife before becoming a wife actually was financial. So in the very beginning of our relationship, he got his little bit of what he got and I got less of what I had, right? So in the beginning of our relationship, he always had to do things. Like it was always, what you know about paying surcharges, like driver's license and insurance and craziness surcharges. He always had to do something like, babe, I have to pay this bill. I have to take care of this. I have to do that. And there was a lot of financial transactions that he would always say, do you mind if we can, I have to go get a money order. Or, do you mind if I give you the cash and, we can just swipe this? And again, willing to do whatever. I'm like, listen, I don't want you moving like this. I don't want you to have to buy a money order every time you have to pay a bill. Like, I don't like that for you. So I, willing to do whatever for him, who's displayed his ability to keep it together. I go to the bank. Now, I'm a Jersey girl, right? So Route 4, Wells Fargo, probably back then it was First Union. The banks go through their things. I go to the bank. We go to the bank. I'll never forget this day, and I'm sure I'll tell my children the story a million times. We go to the bank, and I tell the banker, and I say, listen, I need to put him on this account. Baby, my checking account was serious. Don't come for me. I said, I need to put him on this account. I need for him to have full access to this account so that whatever banking he needs to do, he can do. I need him on the account. I need him on the checks. I need him to have a debit card, and I need him to be able to do everything he needs to do. And the banker pulled me aside and he said, ma'am, are you sure that's what you want to do? Absolutely. Baby, I'm in love. Have you seen him? So he goes, are you sure? If by doing this, you're giving him access to everything. He can take all of your money. He can close the account. He can do all of this, and you won't be able to say anything because you're giving him this access. And in that moment, I'm like, I hear you, but I'm in love. I'm down to do whatever. Like, I want to be with this man forever. Now, I don't condone you going to do this, but it worked for me. So I'm like, yeah, I know. Sign him up. What I need to sign? Like, let's get it together. And as crazy as that may sound, and I laugh, but here's the deal. I put him on that little bit of checking account, gave him access to my whole $77, okay? And I can tell you, as a wife, his wife, of going on 15 years, after I put him on that account, I've never had to ask for anything else. Okay? I'm just saying, like, seriously, it was a risk, but we did it and it worked out amazing. The accounts grew. We got more accounts. We got our apartment. We got houses. He showed up at my job with a car. Like, we've really been able to build a life since then, but it took me showing him that I'm giving you access to everything. This is all I got. Here, let's build something. Let's make this work. And listen, he did it. He did it. He is the breadwinner. He holds us down. He supports me as his wife, those two boys. We don't have a worry in the world. I go to Target, I go to ShopRite, I don't look at the price. I get what I want. And it's because that stupid girl walked in the bank and was like, put him on the account. Just give him everything. I want him to have everything because I love him. I'm just saying it worked out. You be careful. But it worked out, but that's how I showed. That was one of the ways in which I showed him, let's do this. Now, on the flip side, there's the give, but I also had some requests of my own. I remember when we got our first apartment, baby, Lakeview Ave, Patterson. But I used to tell people I lived in Clifton because I couldn't get a car service if I told them Patterson, and Clifton was right across the street. I had to hustle. I'm just saying. So I digress. First apartment, Lakeview Ave, 660 square feet, couldn't tell me nothing, okay? Between me, the hand-me-down furniture, the IKEA coffee table, baby, we was out here. We was out here, okay? So we get our apartment, and I say to him, I'm like, listen, I only want flat screen TVs. Now, this is 2006. Flat screen TVs weren't accessible the way they are now. They were very expensive and very heavy, and dare I say a little thick. But this was my requirement. And it wasn't just about the TVs. It was setting a goal or making a demand of him that I knew was slightly out of his comfort zone. And it wasn't just materialistic, but it was to say, hey, I like that we've worked this hard and we've got this apartment, but there's certain things that I have a strong preference on. And I have this thing, right? I want what I want. I've always wanted what I want. And until I can get what I want, I don't want anything else. So I'm telling you, this apartment is great. But until I can get a flat screen TV, I don't want a TV. And it was a simple, in my mind, it was a simple task. Well, no, it wasn't a simple task. It was not life or death ask, but I knew that it was out of his comfort zone financially, having access to it, all of the above. But this is what I wanted. And I said to myself, let's see how serious he takes my wants. Like, let's see if this is important enough. When I look him in his eyes and I say, listen, I love the space we have and this is what I want. Like, how serious he takes it. And I didn't know that it was going to be possible, and I would not have flipped if he didn't. But when we turned the keys to that apartment, and when I walked upstairs, he was there before me. And when I walked upstairs, the first thing I saw on the floor of the living room was a Panasonic box with a flat screen TV. I then walked in the bedroom, and as I opened the closet door to see how I'm gonna finesse this, okay, there was my bedroom flat screen TV. Nailed it. And again, it wasn't just the material, it was me asking for something that I knew was gonna require a decent amount from him at the time, and he nailed it. So that said to me, not only can you position us accordingly, but at the time, and still to this day, I want things, I like things, ain't afraid to say it. It's part of my love language. I like gifts, I like experiences, and this was me putting that out there in the beginning, and this was him nailing it. Now, I'll say this. All of this, act like a wife before you become a wife, and what worked for me, and all the little things I did, all that's cool. But I'll leave you with this. I give you my word. After 15 years in, up and down, loving everything about him, willing to ride off into the sunset to this day, I will never do this again. Ain't no way. I'm not doing this again. Look, can't even hold my drink good. Hanini said, I said what I said. And that's no knock on the marriage or the institution thereof, but this is work. We want to become a wife, we want this title, we want to lead with our left, but this is work, and it's a lot of work. And I feel like I have the best. I have the best. Like, I have the best Mr. ever. Put him up against anybody. Have the best. And this is really good. And and we're loving life, and we're loving the good years, we're loving the lean years, we're loving the chaos of it all. And in my world, when you've done it and you've had the best, there's no need to do that again. There's no need to do that again. If ever, and I don't like to even reference the notion of he and I not being together. The D word is not a word that we take lightly. It's not a word that we play with, and we don't use it unless we're talking about a soap opera. Do you know what I'm saying? I say that to say this: I'm not doing this again. I wouldn't do it again. I would take this experience and I would live in the memory thereof. And I would probably go get 660 square feet somewhere and figure it out. Thank you for being my guest. Peace.
Jess's Corner.